Demining Angola by Derek Wilson, Holden Worthen, Shannon Woodward, and Lindsay Sharp. Angola has had a great potential for agricultural success. It has fertile soil and an excellent climate for growing a wide variety of crops. Before Angola became independent from Portugal, they thrived on exports such as coffee, bananas, sugarcane, and tobacco. In fact, Angola could sustain itself in all crops except for wheat. After Angola declared its independence, agriculture plummeted, and exports of coffee were less than 1% of what they previously were. Government efforts tried to revive coffee exports, but plantations were lacking 50% of the workforce that was needed. With farmers earning low wages, a large percentage of them left to seek more opportunities in the city. Angola began to rely on outside help to survive. Traditions of family farms became less common, and several crops such as cotton and sugarcane took a sharp decline. Angola didn't have the opportunity to get back on its feet after becoming independent because of its civil war that began in 1975. The time and energy that should have been put into restoring agricultural efforts was turned to this war that lasted nearly 30 years. After the Civil War, agriculture began to grow again, but few people felt incentivized to return to farming. Those who did farm only farmed small plots of land, making it less lucrative than it could be. Today, Angola is making an effort to revive its agricultural revenue. It has received several loans from the World Bank and countries such as China, in hopes to be able to sustain itself again. During the Angolan Civil War, much of the land was covered with landmines. When the war was finished, the landmines were left littering the countryside. With the casualties of the landmines throughout the land of Angola, very few of the natives desired to go back to farming after the war. The amount of agriculture that continued in the country became very small. Angola was no longer able to produce enough crops to sustain itself as it had before. In addition, it lost all of the revenue it could have gained through the exported crops. The economy of Angola started to depend heavily upon their oil and no longer on their agriculture. If the landmines could be cleared up in Angola, many more of the citizens would be able to start farming again. They would be able to return to growing crops such as coffee, sugarcane, and tobacco, for themselves and for other countries. Using their land for agriculture would allow those in Angola to be able to start supporting themselves again. They would no longer be so dependable on other countries or on oil prices. This would help all of Angola to get back on their feet after such a long and devastating civil war. What's currently being done about landmines? As far as a world effort goes, the UN has an organization called the United Nations Mine Action Service, UNMAS. They focus their efforts mainly on current threats and emergency situations. Their goal is to have a world free of the threat of landmines and unexploded ordnance, where individuals and communities live in a safe environment conducive to development, and where mine survivors are fully integrated into their societies. Angola desperately needs help in their demining efforts so that they too can have a safe environment conducive to development, specifically to allow them to develop in agriculture. Although UNMAS does not participate in much of the actual clearance of mines, they do participate in training education, where they teach and cover their main objectives. UNMAS has 5 major objectives. Number 1, clearance, to remove explosive remnants of war. Number 2, education, to help people understand the dangers of mines and to establish safety precautions. Number 3, victim assistance, to provide medical assistance and rehabilitation to those who have been injured. Number 4, advocacy, to encourage the end of trade and use of mines around the world. Number 5. Stockpile destruction, to destroy any landmines that are currently being stockpiled. HALO has been an effective help to Angola in their efforts to be free from landmines. HALO is the oldest and largest humanitarian landmine clearance organization in the world. Here's what the HALO organization has said regarding the progress in Angola. We started work in Angola in 1994 and currently employ hundreds of Angolan staff, plus a handful of full-time expatriates. While very considerable progress has and is being made at the current rate and capacity, clearing Angola of landmines will take at least a decade. This is far too long. Since 1994, they have been able to discover and dispose over 68,000 landmines. One of the big problems is that HALO's funding for the Angola program has been reduced over the last couple of years. They have been making good progress, but it is not receiving sufficient funds to make a lasting impact on Angola's recovery from landmines. There needs to either be a more inexpensive way or much more international funding involved in order to continue to make a difference in Angola. So, what's the next step for Angola? What can be done? We will organize a training seminar with HALO and invite the Angolan government and any other interested private organizations. The training seminar that will be organized will consist of a 4-day seminar which will be taught to the government officials and private organizations. These organizations will then in turn hold similar seminars and teach HALO's concepts, skills, and expertise to the people of Angola. This process of communication will be able to provide local communities with the same 3-week program that is generally offered by HALO. This will allow for HALO and Angola to continue their goal of creating a land free of landmines at a more affordable cost to Angola. This will be a more productive program than hiring a HALO organization to provide each individual 3-week program. So, along with the program, the HALO seminar will provide the tools and training crew required for the 4-day program, including mine detection equipment, hands-on demining training, organized procedures and pamphlets that will then be redistributed in local communities that volunteer. The seminar will take place at the Hotel Terminus, and the cost for the conference room will be approximately $850. The seminar will cost up to $36,000 total, $28,000 required for the actual training, $850 for the conference center, and $6,000 in personal travel costs for a 4-man team to organize the event. To pay for the seminar, each seat is valued at $600. This will be provided by the Angolan government for their military representatives or private and legal companies for their project managers.